Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Welcome to another episode of Ask a Brother podcast. I'm your host, Jeff St. James, and I'm telling y'all right now, if you're in the building, make sure and let me know that you all are here. Make sure you like this video, make sure you hype it up, and for sure, make sure you send it to as many people as you can. I highly recommend that y'all send it to your guys, to your ladies, send it to everybody that you know, because a lot of you that may not have heard of her or know of her, you will be glad that you sent this and you'll be glad that you watched this. So as people start to trickle in, I'm going to give a couple quick announcemements and then I'm going to hit the ground running. So for sure. So for starters, if you are in the building, make sure let me know that you are here for sure. Comment that where you're from, or just state that state that you're in the building. Make sure, like I said, make sure you guys hit that like. If you are a subscriber, shout out to you, because I just checked the numbers literally 2 minutes ago, and we are at 31,799 subscribers. So whoever's holding out in the chat, make sure that you become a subscriber and boost us up to 31,800 subscribers for sure. I see somebody's here from Michigan, so shout out to Eagles fan. Oh, Eagles fan. Okay, Eagles fan for life. Shout out to you, good brother. So who else is up in here? Mauricio, what's going on, man? What's going on? Harry, welcome. So listen, y'all, I am excited, and I'm telling y'all right now, we are going to be cooking in this episode. I'm telling you, this is going to be even with me not knowing what this guest is going to say, I can already tell you I've watched her enough. I've been on her platform. I am so hype about this for sure. So listen, if y'all in the building, like I said, make sure you like this video. Make sure that you send it to as many people as you possibly can. Your homegirls, your homeboys, send it to everybody. I'm telling you, people that are in relationships, outside of relationships, people that are black, white, all over the place. I'm telling y'all right now, you are not going to want to miss this. And listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like I've been doing a really good job with the guests that I've been bringing in. And honestly, they've been holding their own. They've been interesting, different perspectives. I'm introducing them to my audience. I'm being introduced to their audience. So I'm telling you, I just think that this is going to be an amazing show and night for sure. So like this video if you haven't done so. Feel free to become a subscriber if you haven't done so. And then shout out to the members for sure, because the members are the ones who are honestly holding this channel down. Remember, y'all, membership is only $2.99. So very cheap membership fee to be able that's a very small way to kind of support the channel. And for those who are not members, if you like, I'm not sure about being a member, but if you like what you're going to watch as you're watching tonight, feel free to hit the $ and hit those super chats and donate whatever it is that you see fit. I always recommend, if people want to do $2 to $3, we're going to greatly appreciate it for sure. So oh, and thank you to all who checked out my last two interviews this week, both with Dr. Tia San Johnson as well as Verlin from Before You Do, with her brand new channel she just launched this week. So make sure that you all subscribe and support those individuals as well for sure, and show love to them and let them know that Ask a Brother sent you for sure. All right, y'all. A couple quick more things. As you see the hat behind me, it says "Make Masculinity Great Again." We're soon going to be swapping out all the stuff in the store, so make sure that you grab your items as soon as you can, because I don't even know the exact date when everything's going to flip, but when it does, you may have to wait till this time next year to kind of grab those items. So if you haven't ordered, I already got some pictures from some folks saying that their stuff is coming in a very short amount of time. I think it was like 5 days, 4 days for some people. So feel free, because when we run out of the merchandise, that's it. And then we're going to swap out and start doing the new stuff for sure. So let me see who else is in the building. Somebody, Craig Williams from Florida. Shout out to you, good brother. Let's see. FEMA. Five May Cole Realist, Austin, Texas. Shout out to you by way of Sacramento for sure. Listen, man, everybody all over the country is already starting to pour in. So I'm excited. I cannot wait for what this is going to build and grow into for sure. So again, real quick before we get to our last couple announcements, make sure that you like the video. Make sure that you send it to a bunch of people. I'm telling you, I plan and believe without a shadow of a doubt, it's going to be extremely entertaining for sure. Oh my, okay. Let me skip all the way down here. All right, y'all. So our store, this is the link. Thank you, Mrs. Plum, for posting that. Feel free to kind of hit that link, even if you're watching the episode, to kind of check out what it is that we have in stock. Let's see who else we got. We got somebody here from Louisiana checking in from NJ. Yep. So this is going to be a good good show. So I am excited for sure. All right, and then last but not least, our men's group. Just a reminder for those that haven't been made aware. Our men's group again is every single Tuesday virtually at 7 p.m. And we're currently working through Jordan's Peterson's 12 Rules of Life, an antidote to chaos. So we're currently getting ready to start working through chapter 4. So we are working together through that, pushing each other, trying to make sure that we're aiming to do the best we can as men in our practical everyday individual lives, and just supporting each other each week as we check in with each other, give each other encouragement. And best believe, y'all, I'm gonna have some more and more announcements. And I did mention it last interview that very soon I hope to be making an announcement of where our men's retreat will be. And there's already a potential suggestion that we may have a location in Jamaica. So it will be a very small amount of men that'll be allowed to kind of sign up for it. And the men that are in the group, they're the ones that's going to get first dibs. So once I kind of post it, that's kind of it. Oh, we got somebody from Spain in the building. Shout out to the folks from folks all over. I listen, man. Salute to y'all for checking out the content. Make sure that you send it, share it with folks for sure. I'm telling y'all right now, like this. Hit the hype button for sure. I'm so hyped and excited for this. So, without further ado, I am going to play our video from our sponsor, and then I'm going to introduce our next guest. Stay tuned. So thank you to DuSable Botanical Farms for their healthy alternatives to assist you gentlemen in the bedroom with sexual performance and improving testosterone levels. For those that want to check it out, if you want to purchase something, make sure you type in Ask a Brother 10 for 10% off your next purchase. So real quick, make sure if you just got in, make sure that you like this video right now. Make sure you send it to people, because I'm telling y'all right now, I mentioned it with Dr. T. Hassan. I mentioned it with Dave Anderson. I mentioned it with several other people. This is an episode you and many of the people that you know are not going to want to miss. So if more and more of the audience starts to come in as we start to kind of get going with the conversation, it's going to get harder for me to be able to keep up with a lot of the comments. One way for you to kind of stand out is hitting the super chat. It'll be a different color for me, and it will stand out in comparison to all the other comments that's going to be trickling in for sure. So this is their code as well. Thank you, Mrs. Plum, for kind of posting that in the chat. And who else is here? We got VGB, who is from St. Louis, Missouri, for sure. So listen, y'all. Thank you. I just checked right now, and we are now at 31,800 subscribers. So somebody in the last 9 minutes listened to me, and shout out to y'all for just continuing to support the brand, continuing to support the channel for sure. I absolutely love this community of people that's just very interested in ideas and listening and just having very meaningful, deep, in-depth conversations. I think a lot of times all over the internet, it's just about shock value and just trying to troll people, and it's always just about just crazy stuff that doesn't really mean anything. And I think a lot of the guests that's come on and the conversations we've had, it's been meaningful to me, and it sounds like it's been awesome for a lot of you. So I'm super hyped for sure. So again, if you want to support the channel, become a member, which is $2.99. Another way is, if you love the content, if you love what's happening, for sure, feel free to kind of donate if you see fit. But listen, y'all, without further ado, because you all aren't here specifically for me, and shout out to Black Males with A-Town for sure, repping down south for sure. All right, y'all. Now on to our next guest. Before we bring this woman out, I highly recommend y'all go ahead and get your plates. Go ahead and get your utensils, because every single time this woman gets behind the microphone, she starts cooking. And she's a femininity coach. She is an author and a content creator with over 120,000 subscribers and over 40, almost 40 million views on YouTube alone. So this is a big deal for me. It is a huge, huge honor. And I'm just going to tell y'all right now, she is going to bring the fire, and she's going to bring it straight, no chaser. I'm going to say this about her, having observed her for years. I see her as a mentor towards thousands, and I would even describe her as like the red pill auntie to everybody that hears her voice. Without further delay, please help me welcome tonight's special guest, Miss Crimson Cure. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm very honored to be here and have this conversation with you tonight. Hello to everyone that's coming in. I'm happy to hear y'all supporting the brother. Please make sure you continue to support this important platform and what he's doing here, which I think is awesome.
Listen, I am honored that you bless my channel, because now I'm official in these YouTube streets. So listen, for those that's kind of matriculating in, or those that's going to watch this later, why don't you briefly kind of let people know a little bit about like how you even got into content creation and what your experience was entering into that space, both as a woman and as a Black woman?
Oh, wow. This had to be, well, I want to say I started my actual channel probably in late 2018, I want to say. And as it were back then, the manosphere, as it were, was very strict, if you want to say that, about women even being in and around, especially in the space. There really were no women not with their own channels in the space. You know, I began just entering on panels hosted by the brothers, the pioneers of the manosphere space. And eventually, I wanted to be a voice because I wanted to be a sensible female voice. And I wanted to add something valuable to the conversations that were being had, because even though these were conversations that the men were having among themselves, I thought that the basis of those conversations were very important. And I thought that if a woman was going to add her 2 cents in, it needed to be something that was going to be productive. Okay. It needed to be something that was going to be adding value to what their conversation was rather than take away from it. So things just sort of evolved from there, and eventually it just sort of blew up. So I like to say that I pioneered the female accountability space.
Absolutely.
Which is now like adjacent to the manosphere. It's not manosphere proper, but it is adjacent at this point. So I like to say that I pioneered that space.
Yeah, listen, I appreciate it. And how were you received, like being a woman, and even in terms of race? Like, was that ever a challenge for you? Because of course, when you enter the space, there's going to be people that just don't like what it is that you have to say. But how did the audience receive you?
For the most part, it was respect, that I earned. I had to earn that respect. So I was not welcome just because I was a woman. As in point of fact, the brothers were skeptical because of that. Now, my race never played a part into it, because I never went over to the quote unquote white side of the manosphere. I was always with the Black manosphere, because those are my brothers, those are my people. And but being a woman in a space, that was, I made my bones. I had to make my bones. I had to pay my dues in the space, because the men were very, like I said, very, very strict. Now you see a lot of women on different panels, and you don't know where they come from. See, back when I was jumping on the panel, that was not the case at all. You got vetted, you got questioned, you got, picked apart with what you had to say. And the reason that I was able to earn the respect that I did earn was because I was consistent. So because I was consistent and I meant what I said, that started to be, okay, well, she can earn respect. Of course, there's always going to be brothers that didn't appreciate it just because they felt like, regardless of what she's saying, she's a woman that's invading a space that the brothers created for themselves. And I respected that opinion, but I still thought that I had something valuable to add.
Well, listen, over 100,000 subscribers later, clearly the people have spoken, and I'm happy that you were there and that you're here. And I think you bring a balance that I think a lot of brothers often struggle with when it comes to seeing it from both angles in terms of what both sexes are like needing. You kind of have that naturally. So I kudos to you for being able to walk that fine line, because I'm getting beat up every time I talk about in either group. It seems like people definitely have something to say, it seems. Real quick, Terrence Zove Jones, 4560, $5 salute to you both, brother Jeff and twin Kendra. Listen, brother, I appreciate you for the $5 for sure. I did have a question for you as a femininity coach. What have you seen normalized that has impacted like the general decline in like femininity in the culture and society? Because right now I think a lot of men are stating that like femininity is rare to find now in the States. Listen, you here, so you ain't gotta hold it back.
Of femininity, because it's almost a very wide thing in my viewpoint. It's not just one or two little things. But hold on. Don't you hate it when you almost have to sneeze? But anyway, decline of femininity. More than the decline of it, worse than the decline of it has been the corruption of it. The corruption of femininity. The women are being feminine, but they're being negatively so. They're doing all of the things that are negative that are also feminine, because it's not masculine. It's feminine, it's just wrong. They're not operating in a femininity that is positive, helpful, and fruitful. So, and I talk about this. The women of today are operating in a manipulative space. They are operating in a negatively chaotic space. They are operating from these spaces, and they're utilizing these things in a negative fashion, because women in general have always had a finesse to them. That's what femininity is. Femininity finesses. It's not brute strength. It's quiet. It's, subtle more so. To get what we want, we need to be more subtle. We need to go more into that femininity. Some people call it manipulation. The women are doing it today. They're just doing it to the detriment rather than to the benefit of everybody. And it actually took me a while to kind of come to that, because I was more so in the past like, no, these women are being masculine, and to a large degree they were. But as I began to sort of look more into the behavior of today's women, it's feminine, it's just bad. It's negative. They're utilizing the feminine gift in order to be destructive with it rather than productive with it. And I think the number one thing, I always say it, is feminism. Feminism went from, we're going to be liberated, we're going to get jobs, we're going to vote, we're going to do, and it transformed drastically from that to women's sexual liberation. And from there, the women's sexual liberation was really when it was no holds barred. If women decided that since we don't have to have a moral standard, we no longer have to have a societally imposed standard, on how we behave sexually, whether or not we are positive pieces of family structures or not. We get to do what we want to do, and you see what women are going to do without any constraint or very few constraints.
Mm.
Women have decided that they're just going to use whatever feminine gifts that they have to their own so-called benefit, which is really to their detriment. That's the trick. The trick and the trap is that it's to their detriment too. The women thought that it was just going to be to their benefit. I get to do what I want, like a child, like a toddler. You know how you have to tell a kid says, I can't wait till I get grown, because they think that they're going to be able to do what they want once they get liberated from the structure and the authority of their parents. Mm-hmm. Little do children realize that the older you get, the more responsible you actually have to be. And there's more constraint. Your parents might not be able to tell you what to do, but now society has all these different rules, and a different kind of authority is over your life you have to pay attention to, or else you're going to have different consequences. Mm-hmm. So not at the risk of being long-winded, feminism as an umbrella of an idea caused the literal downfall of women by allowing them and telling them that it was best for them to go into full chaos mode, which is actually quite detrimental to them spiritually, physically. It's detrimental to men because the men have become victims of a lot of different female manipulation tactics. Mm-hmm. And the community has been at a detriment and a deficit because due to these bad interpersonal relationships that are now coming to a head, no one wants to create family units anymore. No family, no community. No community, no relevance. We'd go extinct because of that, which was the ultimate goal. I hope that I answered your question.
Not only did you answer that very well, I'm thinking about with everything that you just said in the general direction of what's happening with the community, where they've now incorporated and are now functionally in an ideology that's anti everything that's necessary for a community to grow and be sustained. Like you just said, anti-family, anti-children, anti-birth, anti-motherhood. And it's like, you know, anti-femininity or anti the softness of femininity and wanting to get along with men. It's scary to see how women like reacted and received your content, and when you would say and share this stuff. Like what would they say to you?
Oh, in the beginning, I was attacked. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. The women were not having it. They were not having it. They were not listening to me. They are like, you are just pandering to the men. You are just saying what you think the men want to hear. You hate women. You have a self-hatred. How is it that you are a woman and you are speaking and bashing and talking down on Black women? Are you really Black? You know, I've had all of those different attacks because I'm Muslim now. I'm not Black, and all of this type of stuff. So I have made some. I have a reputation in this space going back a few years, and not all of it is good or gracious. There have been I had a lot of run-ins in the past because I was more fiery actually when I first started. This is the calm me. But when I first got here, listen, let me tell you, I was taking people's heads off on panels. I was jumping on panels specifically to, you know what I'm saying, take somebody's head off because you don't know what you're talking about, and you are misrepresenting women. And I didn't like that. So I was very much more forceful and aggressive during that time. The overall aesthetic has been refined, but the passion is the same that I've always had here. Now, as time has progressed, there are more women who come to my channel who want to listen to what I say, but if we want to break it down analytically, the bulk of my audience is still men at probably about 75 to 80%.
And what's unfortunate is they've been taught by feminism that in order for them to do these things and expect no consequences, it's built in the model, it's built in the ideology. This can only truly work if shame doesn't exist.
Yes.
It's the only way, because the moment shame exists, so many of the things in terms of, like you said, just being reckless with the sex, what they display, how they present themselves in public, how they act towards others, especially men. It's the only way they can do that and be fine with it is if they're in an ideology that says anybody that has something to say against that is trying to bring shame on you, and they're the enemy. And I'm like,
Exactly. And
this is the most effect. Like, this is the most effect. One of the more, I saw somebody recently say, out of all the different revolutions, this revolution in particular was the one that was the most effective without a bullet ever being shot.
Exactly. Feminism, and I've said it on my channel plenty of times, feminism did what barefaced white supremacy could not. Barefaced white supremacy could not destroy us as a Black people at our core. It could not. We galvanized in the face of violence, and both political, physical violence, individual violence, group violence. You know, we persevered through the civil rights movement. We persevered through Reconstruction. We persevered through all of those hardships. Slavery, even chattel slavery, we persevered through that. Okay. For all its brutality. Okay. They could not do with violence and just overt oppression what they managed to do with feminism in about 50 years. And I've also said that feminism is a prime destabilizing agent, which is why they try to enforce it if they can on other countries. It's a destabilizing agent. It works wonders. They already did the experiment with us. We were the experiment. If people go back and read the Moynihan report, they already said what the outcome was going to be. We were the experiment. It worked like a charm. Okay, it worked like a charm. It was perfectly constructed. And because it worked so well, they decided, you know what, let's try to put this type of thinking and propaganda in other societies. If we can undermine a society through its women and through the emotionality of its women, then we have them. We have them. And it works so well for many different reasons. One reason, to your point about shame. See, what they understand is people's psychology, human psychology, and the way women socialize. Women socialize differently than men do. Women care about the group more so than men. We care about whether or not we are accepted by the group or ostracized by the group, because the group means safety. Being ostracized from the group means you can be targeted and destroyed, and it decreases your survivability. So when you had a society of women functioning properly, there was also the moral and the societal expectation for the women. You were expected to be modest. You were expected to carry yourself with decency and decorum. You were expected to be a good wife. You were expected to be a good girl. You were expected all of these various societal expectations. Women abided by them, because if you don't, you're ostracized, you're out, and you can't survive if you're out. You have to conform. In order to get women to do what they did, they removed those societal constraints as much as possible. Change the expectation or remove it. Okay, remove the societal expectation. Now, they couldn't change the thoughts of men concerning certain behaviors of women, but they could take away the societal stigmas as much as possible connected to certain behaviors that had been in the past frowned upon. So now, without the social pressure of having to be modest and having to go to church and having to be a good girl and having to do this and having to do that and having to be married and having to be without all of those social constraints and expectations of the women said, well, I don't have to do it. And once you do that, the women are going to follow the group, because again, to be ostracized from the group means you don't survive well, which is why lionesses are rare. I'm probably going to ramble a little bit, but this is why lionesses are rare, because we at this point have to come away from the group. It actually goes against our nature as women.
Wow. And you know what? Relate, and I love, and everybody was commented what you said. It was like feminism did what white supremacy could not. And Dr. Tiasan Johnson said earlier this week that the Black community is like the canary stuck in the coal mine, where all their experiments that kind of bled into other communities and then into other countries, they typically started it with what in our community. They normalized the Planned Parenthood just being in the same, like in all the, you know, locales that's very easy to get to. The politicians telling you this is what you need, like this is, you know, that you're taking your freedom if you don't go to Planned Parenthood, like and between all the things, for the music to the just general degeneracy in culture, so many of the things that are now like so disruptive in terms of like society as a whole, it usually started with us first. And I, like 2 weeks ago, I saw a video of 3 or 4 feminists, all white, who were talking in some type of room, possibly like a classroom or something, and they were pointing at the Black community as an example of how women in society can live outside and away from men. And they said the Black community proves that we no longer need the nuclear family. They're literally saying this quote for quote, bar for bar. They're pointing at the Black community as an example of what they want all communities to eventually end up materializing and looking like. So it's devastating to see. And what's shocking is they've gotten all of these things. Many of them haven't, meaning the ladies, they haven't gotten the outcomes they've wanted. And rather than listening to you and reflecting on, have we been tricked? Have we been used? Have we been manipulated? They're doubling down. They're doubling down on the ideology, the view, and the belief system that everything that's wrong is only because of men and not because of us. How about this? Because this is related to that. In the era of transactional and like normalized prostitution at this point, what are your thoughts about like where we are as a culture and civilization when so many women are now so open and straightforward about the transactional demands from men and the OnlyFans links being up on everything and like the very normalized approaches to prostitution? Like, what do you think about that?
We are, when a society reaches decadence, which is where we are, its fall is imminent. We are at the end of this society, this civilization. All great civilizations rise and fall. We are in the twilight of American civilization, and it will not exist probably in the next generation or so in any way, shape, or form how we've known it to be, because we are in a place of decadence. You know, when Rome fell, Rome was also in this place of liberation, and everyone can do everything, and this individuality, and you know, all of this entitlement and all of these sorts of things, because we've gone well past survival, right? We're not hunter-gatherers anymore. We're not an agrarian society anymore. We've long passed that. Okay, so we've gone into technology. We're now in an AI situation where all of this technology, the removal of humans from various sectors of the society and things of that nature. We're clearly in decadence, but most people don't understand that is the sign of declining. That is a decline. That is the end of a civilization, not its beginning. We already peaked. However we were going to peak, we already did that. This is the end of it. Um, I think I wanted to go back to, no, I can't go back because now I forgot the point that I was going to go back to, but it'll come back to me. But yeah, for this, we are in definite decline about it.
Is it salvageable? Because me and you, when we last talked on your platform, we kind of talked a little bit about like the ship is sinking kind of thing. Do you still feel that way? That you think like we're cooked and at this point we're just grabbing who we can to kind of escape what's kind of coming as far as the community, or do you think this is salvageable and there's actually enough momentum of people doing what you're doing and I'm doing and other people doing a lot of work that this can actually change in a generation?
Both things are true. We're cooked and we're saving those who can be saved. Because even when we think about it in a biblical term, when it says, the 2/3 are going to go, only about 1/3 of people can make it. I find that math works in various different ways. The Black community is cooked like a goose. Okay. And the saddest part about it, Mr. Jeff, is that it don't have to be cooked. It actually doesn't have to be cooked, because it takes about a generation, about 20 years, to enact changes in biology, changes in culture, and then changes in environment to change a value system. It takes about 20 years to do that. It takes about a generation to do that. That's how they change it. That's how the powers that be change it. That's how we got where we are, because our values got corrupted. How did that happen? It didn't take very long. It was considerably a shorter time than trying to break us externally through, as like we just discussed, slavery and all the Jim Crow and all this other type of stuff that they were trying to do. That's hundreds of years. They couldn't do it. In about a generation. Literally. They transformed our community from having a set of values. Now, we weren't perfect, but who was? Nobody. Yet we had a set of values that worked for us, that made us positive, that had us on a positive trajectory. We cared about our spirituality. People laugh at the church now and they don't want to have nothing to do with it, but it had been the backbone of who we were for a very long time. Okay? We cared about our health. We weren't obese and this and that. We were walking around. We were healthy people. We cared about what we were eating. We cared about what we were consuming. We cared about what we were doing. Okay? We cared about not being lazy and sitting around and not doing anything. We cared about our family structures. We used to not only have a nuclear family, but an extended one. Big mama, the cousins, big daddies, aunties. Okay? Yeah, I got family in such and such place. I got family over here, family over there. We don't even have that anymore. Big mama is my age. Big mama's 35. And all of that foolish man. She don't know nothing. She's still out here trying to thot and bop with her granddaughter. Okay? We used to care about our home, our appearance. Our appearance, we used to care. We used to care how we looked. We used to care how we carried ourselves as a group of people. We did not allow those of us who had degenerate behavior, bad behavior, to be the representatives of who we were. We shamed them, the men and the women. If there were men who were acting out, acting crazy, all in the street, the men checked them. Hey, come here, brother. Let us talk to you. You can't be running around here drunk in the street. You can't do that, right? You married to Miss Hazel's daughter. Then that's the Johnson family. You got to represent. The women did the same. Hey, come here. Come here, baby. You can't wear that. You can't be wearing that now. You got to act better than that. We seen you last night. You was kind of fooling around with the men, and you can't do. We were doing that. We were checking one another, and we could be checked. We could be checked. We allowed ourselves to be checked. Because even those of us who weren't doing what they were supposed to do, and if they weren't going to straighten up, you had to go in the back. You can't represent us. You got to go somewhere. You got to go down south or something like that. You can't be here with us because you're making it hard on us.
Yeah.
Even down to how we were dressing, suits and proper dresses and proper clothing. It may not have been the best quality, but we were clean and we were presentable. All of that. We cared about all of that. And now, after a generation of feminist propaganda, which included so many things, because that's why I say it is the child of white supremacy. It's an offshoot of it, because the goal was the same and the outcome was the same also. This is why it held too many similar and parallel concepts and ideas. So in about a generation, they start second wave feminism was just in the 60s.
Yeah.
Those are boomers. That's my mama and them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they were her parents was still having kids, because my mama was born in what, 53? I want to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, mine was 61. Yeah.
Yeah. So if I want to say, if second wave feminism was strong in the 60s, that was really the greatest generation. There was adults and parents at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And the boomers was coming up. So they were getting that propaganda fresh because they were young. So they were really getting it. So where it didn't take root for the greatest generation, the greatest generation actually was fighting it. They didn't like that. They didn't. It went against all of their morals. They saw it. The women saw it. The women were like, no, we don't like that. No, we need our families. The boomer generation took it on and gave it. It was like a virus, and it was double time for Gen X. The boomers gave it to Gen X double, and we ran with it. That's where we are. That's why we are where we are right now with that.
You mentioned the church having such a key pivotal role. And I did some research and I saw how the church, late 60s, early 70s, started working with feminists and started working with different groups to encourage community members to engage in the abortion services. And the very thing that was supposed to protect and keep the community intact, they just went straight to them and said, if we can get the preachers, if we can get the pastors, we can get them to vote and accept any ideology that we want. Today, talking about the Black community specifically, the Black church is functionally pretty damn close to irrelevant. Why do you think that is nowadays?
Because for whatever reason, we thought God was in that church building. And when we didn't want to go to that church building no more, we gave up on God. Not just the preachers, not just, it was deeper than going to a church and not liking the changes that you saw in those churches. And saying, either fight for the ground and say, no, you can't infiltrate our spiritual house with this nonsense, because the church was not supposed to be able to be infiltrated like that. Because theoretically, the church is not a building. The church is supposed to be rooted and standing upon God's law, not man's law. And so if man's law comes in and contradicts God's law, that was supposed to be no. But because it wasn't quite no, we said, and I think we fought for that ground for a little while. It didn't just go tank, in a day. It was gradual. But the trick and the trap there was the disillusionment of the church, and thus the disillusionment with God. So we didn't go to the church building and then we said, well, we don't need God then, because it's not like we kept doing as a community outside the church what God wanted. We just abandoned it. We just said, well, It might only be a couple of churches around that's worth going to, a couple of preachers around that's worth listening to, and things of that nature. But we can do without it. So the generation who might have been most grieved by it, that next generation likely was not as grieved because it stopped being growing up in the church. I don't need the church. So education became more important than the spirituality. You don't need God. You just need secular education and a secular life, because you see how God failed you. See how them old religions didn't hold up. See how that worked. Just go ahead on now. So now, not only is the church a mere shadow of itself, if that, the people, the minds and the hearts of people in general have turned away from God and spirituality to begin with. So most people don't even live their lives according to that, or they don't even bother to reference it or think about it at all.
At this point, based off of everything that you're saying, now what's coming to my mind is the church has effectively become nothing more than a vehicle to extract resources from the community. A tool that the Democratic Party uses every election cycle, and something that gives women hope in a life that they can't help these women find in terms of potential options and relationships on the other side. It's I grew up in it, and I was Pentecostal, apostolic my whole life, and I went to different churches in Philly, Camden, different areas and everything. And as I began to question things and watch things and what was allowed and who get demonized and who would get the shame and who didn't, I'm learning and realizing I was like, wow, the very thing that was supposed to protect us was utilized and used as a tool of oppression to trick us further into degeneracy, and then keep us captive and attached to a particular political entity, regardless of the outcome and if we're even getting any benefits. It's just like, I'm realizing the reason why I think the reason why a lot of men aren't going to church anymore is because men recognize game. Men recognize game. And we know what pimping looks like. We know what pimping looks like. We know how it operates. We know what it looks like. We know when somebody's running game, and it's the ladies who yet again are the ones. It's like going to a bank, making deposits and never getting no withdrawals. What are you actually withdrawing from this community? What are you withdrawing from all of this attendance, all of this offering, all of this tithing, all of this energy, all of this stuff that you're given? And again, to be fair, I'm not speaking in all, because undoubtedly there has been some legitimate pastors and preachers who I know personally, who, shout out to Pastor Ernest and Cherry Hill. He Ernest Grant. He's a legitimate, authentic person. Pastor Eric Mason in Philadelphia. These are men that I've known and met and seen their life behind the scenes and what they do. But that's not the case for a lot of churches, a lot of communities. And seeing the flood of men that's kind of abandoned the church en masse, especially in the Black community, but in Western countries in general. I appreciate you kind of pointing out just how much the church has lost its way, and to the point of where it's like, it makes sense to me why it's kind of lost its effect, because at this point it really is just a tool to kind of keep us in line in terms of politics, and kind of scare us straight whenever something in society is going haywire. The church gives us the speaking points, or gives us the talking points from those above to say, this is how you're supposed to react or feel in this moment. This is how you're supposed to vote. And all the things that you said that was a part of our tradition, the church doesn't even care about those things, it seems, anymore. So it's unfortunate. Real quick question. Based off of how bad things are and the ship sinking, should men in general still try to desire finding a wife-worthy wife-worthy woman in the U.S., and in the foundational Black American community specifically today?
Sure, they're here. They're here
If
because
you had
a
if you had to put
wife-worthy
if you had to do a
woman.
number, if you
Oh,
had to give a percentage,
if I have
what?
to give a
Yeah.
percentage, probably I would say at least a good 20 to 25% of all women are probably really good. There's probably another probably 10% that is workable, and the other percentage is probably gone.
Dang.
But the reason why I say what I say
Mhm.
is this, because wife-worthy women are wife-worthy women anywhere.
Mhm.
Whether they're here, whether they're abroad, whether they're somewhere near you or far away from you. It's gonna be the same vetting process. It's gonna be the same thought pattern. And I'm talking about from the men perspective. It's gonna be the same thought process when he's looking for a wife. What is he looking for? What are the qualities? What are the values? And that measuring stick is just going to be used everywhere.
Mhm.
He can use it here or he can use it somewhere else. So that don't bother me. Me and going somewhere else to find. Do what you got to do. I have zero like
Like the
feeling one way or
passport
another about it.
bros, your passport bros, it's like
Yeah, I
like
don't care either way.
mm,
I mean, people do what they want to do. People do
mhm.
what they got to do. I don't really have a strong opinion about that. Yeah, brothers go, or I can't stand the brothers that's going to do the folks grown. They
Mhm.
gonna do what they want to do. If you find or you feel that you have a better chance of going into another culture and getting what you are looking for, more power to you.
Mm.
More power to you. And the other reason that I say that is because when we're on these social media platforms, we're generally inundated with kind of the worst of the worst. The women who are doing what they're supposed to do, we would never talk about them because they're not on the internet.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
They're not somewhere doing foolishness.
Mm.
Lionesses is in their house because they done just came from the gym in Panera and they done went back home. That's why they at single lionesses are minding their business is what they're doing. They're at work. They're at the gym. They went to Starbucks. They went to a Hobby Lobby. They kind of chilling. And they went back home. I know for a fact because that's what I was doing. Before I got another husband,
Mhm.
I was chilling.
Yeah.
I was somewhere chilling.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, I was driving Uber
Mhm.
and I was coming home. That's what I was doing. I wasn't talking to nobody and I wasn't in nobody's face. I certainly wasn't on nobody's internet acting a fool. That's
Mhm.
what I wasn't doing. So
Mhm.
the women are going to be women anywhere.
Mhm. Yeah, so 30, 20 to 30% currently in the US, you believe is wife worthy women presently.
You know, they're about 25% or so. Yeah.
I think when I talked to Miss Verlin yesterday, she said something very similar. And Miss Anita from Better Love Movement, she said something very similar. And I'm like, so all the women who are meeting with women one-on-one are socializing with women whose work it is to advocate and talk to women about femininity and coaching are all saying it's about 20, 25%.
Mhm.
Jesus.
Now you got to tell us what expound on the pause, brother.
You know what it is? I always try on my end to be much more optimistic about the work that I do as a therapist, as a content creator, right? And I wanted to believe that that number was higher, but there wasn't much that I was seeing and experiencing and living that could tell me it's significantly higher than that right now. And the reason why is because the younger generations of ladies are worse. And I'm like, if we're battling with the ladies our mom's age. You got the content creators the ladies who are it's in their 40s and 50s who still have a certain mentality. We're seeing all the women calling on the shows, and I'm like, and then we're looking at the divorce rates versus the marital rates, and I'm like, I know the number wasn't there, but now I've had 3 women on this 4 with Taylor Chandler have all said very similar answers, that it's way, way less than half.
Yeah, it's less than half. It's less than half, and it's less than half because we have to be real about feminism is not just a word. Feminism was an entire propaganda, CIA-led psyop. Okay.
Hold on, we ain't gonna skip over that. Please repeat that word for word if you can. It was funded by who?
The CIA.
And it was a what?
A psyop.
Psychological operation, y'all.
Yes.
It was not organic. There were Black proto-feminists prior to this movement who had nothing to do with what we know of and think of and see as what we're calling modern day feminism. Jesus.
So we have to understand that feminism as it stands today wasn't no such thing as OnlyFans and social media. That was the morph. That's the transformation. It began as a CIA-led psyop. Propaganda is not easy to circumvent at all.
Mm-hmm.
And not just feminist propaganda. The propaganda that we face in America all the time. Propaganda to tell you're supposed to eat 3 meals a day. That's propaganda. Right? Propaganda that tell you that, the apple a day keep the doctor away and all that foolishness.
Mm-hmm.
Same propaganda that's running the same propaganda. It's propaganda. Most of us do not outthink the propaganda that we are given. Mm-hmm. It was propaganda that had folks smoking cigarettes. It was propaganda again that made you stop. You don't really see people smoking cigarettes like that no more, especially out in public. There used to be commercials and everything, all kind of billboards, Lucky Strikes and Virginia Slims and all this other kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So propaganda is not easy to overcome. I said the reason that I'm stressing that is because feminism is propaganda given to women when they are girls, little girls. They have no idea that they are experiencing propaganda. They grow up with these ideas. They don't get grown and get them. We do not get grown and get these ideas put in our head. It is like that from toddlerhood.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The fact that 25% of us, 1 in every 4 of us, get to shake it off. That's a feat.
Mm-hmm.
That is a feat. Most propaganda, very little people can shake it off and come out of it and say, you know what? I don't know if all of that stuff is true that I was told or that was pushed to me. Let me think about that again. Let me come back to that. Let me refocus on that because I don't know about that because it don't feel right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It certainly feel crazy. So let me think about that. So 25% is absolutely less than half, but that 25% is gold because propaganda is difficult to shake off, and we have to shake that off. Listen, let me tell you, a lioness have to shake that off as a adolescent. We can't wait till we get grown to do that. We shake propaganda off at about 13 or 14 because we have to.
Yeah. Listen, y'all. It obviously she's been cooking, and I all I can do is listen at this point, and I'm in awe of the depth of how deep you're going into the malevolence of what this ideology did to us and to our women. and I'm like, I don't even have any rebuttals. I don't have any rebuttals because it's like the more that you describe what happened, how it happened. Somebody mentioned that it wasn't just that ladies or women were just quote unquote tricked. Many of them gleefully jumped in on the movement. Willful, like me and a couple of people I've met with recently, we were talking about the recent video with the divestors that were meeting with white men, talking about wanting them to use force to end the lives of black men. The nicknames of calling us bullet bags, and the laughing and glee whenever a man gets jammed up with a false allegation or gets killed, and them saying that like we hope the police take care of y'all now. Like there was this, and I said this to Tommy Sotomayor when I was meeting with him, that in order for this ideology to have taken root and to be as effective as it was, there had to be a decent percentage of our own women that hated our men. That's the only explanation. If because my lens was this, every other community, feminism was open source. Every community could have access to it. Every community could have embraced these talking points, embraced this ideology, embraced the disrespect and the misandrous mindset towards their own men. Every community could have done that. Other communities didn't do it to the same degree that ours did. And when we ask that question, are we cooked? Is it redeemable? Even if they snapped a finger and everything that's leading towards the degeneracy in culture was to be removed and made illegal overnight, 2 consecutive generations of men were able to see what our women were willing and wanting to do when they had the freedom to do so. We saw who they chose when they were younger. We saw who they gave their bodies to. We saw who they gave children to. We saw how they talked about their men and talked to their men. And we saw them pick and align with white female supremacists who were Marxist, who were anti-family, anti-children, and anti-black. And they walked arm in arm with them. We saw when all the restrictions were removed, we saw what your free choice was. And as much as I try to push for, we got to grow and we got to get better, and I want us to be unified as a community, the more and more I think about the depths of what they chose and why they chose it. I can't blame anyone, men or women, for being like, I can't focus on the community. Mm-hmm. I gotta focus on me, my family, put us in the best position where we can grow, we can thrive, we're safe. And I understand, like I can never fault people anymore for not thinking in a communal manner when such a huge segment of our community just absolutely decided F the community, F our own reproduction, F our numbers. It's all about ourselves in that moment. And yeah. Before we get to a couple more questions, if you're in a chat right now, if you're watching this right now, I see that we have over almost 500 people in here. Make sure that you like this. If you haven't liked it, make sure that you subscribe. Make sure if you feel free to hit that $ to donate for sure. A couple more questions. The female influencing content creator space. Like you said, when you came on, you were very early. There wasn't a lot of people in the space that you kind of opened up the door for a lot of other women in the content creating relationship manosphere type space and environment. I've peeped and noticed a pretty concerning trend that I think is also contributing to why things are the way that they are, with how women's frame of reference to view the dating market and view their men as being skewed. You have a whole lot of women that are unsuccessful in their own relationship attempts, giving feedback and advice and influencing the lives of thousands and millions of people and women specifically, and leading them in a place and direction that they themselves have never been or ever experienced. What are your thoughts about all of these content creators, particularly the ones that's pandering to women, who don't even have the outcomes that these women are asking about and wanting? Like, what do you think?
Well, I think once folks find a place that they think they can make some money, that's what they're going to do. Whether they're genuine about it or not, whether they're authentic about it or not. Matter of fact, the more inauthentic you are about it, the more money you're going to make doing it, because you do have to pander to either one or the other. You either have to pander to men and say everything that the men want to hear or what you think they want to hear, or you have to pander to women and say all of the things that you think a hyena want to hear. You got to coddle it and make it seem okay that you know, 56 and you ain't never been married before and all this other kind of stuff. Yet that's what you wanted. Before I go further down that rabbit hole right there, I'm going to stick a pin in that. I want to talk about the divestors, especially the ones who were calling themselves trying to join up with white men to try to get rid of black men. I don't worry about them. First of all, they're a minority. Secondly, they get their comeuppance with Mr. Cartwright. They get their comeuppance with him. They get that, like they have always, like a bad wench has always gotten. It has rarely, if ever, ended well for her after joining with an open enemy against her own people. They get, and I'm not even saying it as reveling in it. It's just the truth. Those women conspire with those men, and then those men send them to the upper room. They get they comeuppance with them. So I don't even worry about them. They're gonna get what they get anyways. Because that type of energy putting out, you get that back. There's no way that you don't get that back. You definitely get that back because that's what you're putting out. Now, to go back to the point of what we were talking about in terms of content creators, it's lucrative, especially during the pandemic and after. Lucrative to get on YouTube or Instagram or whomever. And the hot conversation then and now was a so-called gender war and dating scene and what the men were doing and what the women were doing and whatever side you fell on or whatever. And so, you know, people were sitting around. They wanted to hear some content. They wanted to glom on to something. People started making content and people blew up. Whether you were authentic and you blew up or meant what you tried to say. Like, for example, Kevin Samuels blew up at that time. But I think that he was genuinely trying to help. You know, I think that he was trying to put information out there, regardless of his own personal, like, marital things and getting a divorce. And I think he was coming from a standpoint of, I already know what didn't work. So, because it didn't work. And I see so many of us, men and women, making those same mistakes consistently across the board. Don't do it. Like, don't do this. You really should do this. Because if this ain't working, then the opposite work. Obviously, it ain't gonna hurt to try, because what you're doing right now don't work. So there are people who I believe like him that blew up, but I think that he was being authentic and sincere about what he was trying to do for women and even for men as well. And then there was the other people. I'm not gonna say, I only said his name because I had something good to say about him, but I'm not gonna say other folks' names. But there's other folks' names that also blew up, and they just wanted to pander. The men are doing y'all wrong, and y'all being single, there's nothing wrong with y'all being single and baby mamas and this and that. Y'all still queens and strong black women, and you don't need these dusty men and this, that, and the third. And then you have other grifters from on the female side. Take these dudes for all that they got and sprinkle and all this other kind of foolishness. So you have, anytime there's an opportunity somewhere, it's gonna be opportunists to take advantage of that. My thing is, there still has to be the presence of myself and other female content creators that I believe are authentic, even though we are consistently outnumbered. I believe it's important for us to maintain a presence, because good people are always outnumbered.
Mm.
People who are good are always outnumbered. Like people frown up and it's not as many wife-worthy women. Good people are always in the minority. Especially when a society or a group turn bad. The good people are in the minority. That's why it's bad, because it's in the minority now. But that doesn't mean we sit down. That doesn't mean we don't speak. We don't have the loudest microphone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because there are people who I know grifting, got millions of subscribers. I know they're grifting.
Yeah. Yeah. For the audience, one of the ways that I don't know that you've all thought about in terms of how to, and ladies, for those of you that are watching, please share this with your daughter, share this with your sister, share this with your girlfriends. Ladies, a very easy way to know if someone's a panderer and grifting is if they never tell you what you need to hear and only tell you what you want to hear. Very easy. If they never hold you accountable, shame doesn't exist. Shame exists in their message for the opposite side. They're no good men and men ain't this, and they shame actually, like, believe it or not, they do believe in the concept of shame just for men. But when it comes to you all and your actions and your moves, actions, and decisions that's brought you to the place you are presently in life, it's always a man's fault.
Mm-hmm.
If they never hold you accountable and tell you things you don't want to hear, y'all have wasted a lot of money. Y'all have wasted a lot of donations. Y'all have wasted a lot of buying tickets, showing up to places, and year after year, your ears get tickled, you get entertained, and your life is no different, and you're no closer to the prospect of a suitable partner. You, my friend, are supporting a grifter.
You supporting a grifter. If you can't come away with some real value that's gonna help you one way or the other, at some point you've been consuming this certain content for X amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing improved. Nothing got better. A light didn't switch on or nothing. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
A light didn't switch on. Nothing switched on. You wasting time and money. But this is what we have to come see. These conversations are intermingled. They're not in a vacuum. The things that we're talking about touch one another. Nothing is happening separately. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Jeff,
Mm-hmm.
people like entertainment, not edification.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I have to title my videos the way I do.
Yep.
And talk about it the way that I talk about it. Don't nobody want to tune into my channel, hear no lecture.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They want to be entertained. Now, I ain't got no problem with entertaining because I know my people.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay? I know my people. And I'm gonna laugh and chuckle with you and roast with you and all that other kind of stuff too. But the difference is, like this channel, my channel, other channels like us, I want you to come away with something. After you turn it off and you get through laughing at whatever I said, you can think about it though.
Yeah.
Think about it. Really think about it. Sink your teeth into it. Roll it around.
Mm-hmm.
You might actually come up with something else. You know, I want people to have that value, spark that thought. People just want to be entertained. Okay, so they don't want the growth. This actually goes back to a point that you said earlier on in the show about women doubling down on feminism, you know, and doubling down on things are men's fault, because edification, change, insight, real healing, real what's the other word I'm looking for? It'll come to me. That is work.
Yeah.
That is work.
It doesn't feel good.
Most people don't want to do at all. So the feminist is going to say, yeah, everything men fault and this, that, and the third. Yeah, I'm okay. She gonna keep doubling down no matter how bad her outcomes continue to be. No matter how bad they continue to be, no matter how many times she get quote unquote lied to by a guy that she want to be lied to from. No matter how many babies she got to spit out for a man, she don't never come to a point where she addresses herself for why she's even in these situations and why she's even thinking about what she's not thinking about what she's doing, because it's easier to say it's somebody else's issue. It's an external issue. It's an external reason why I'm in the situation that I'm in. It's an external reason why I think the way that I do and why I'm doing what I'm doing. So I said it on my channel, so many people, you would blow your mind to think of how so many people are unintentional with everything in their life. Everything happens without intent. People are just really, literally waking up, and the only thing they might have intention to do is go to work. Other than that, everything else is just how it happened and when it happened, and it's a vibe, and we just going with it. Not even thinking about it. She can't be wrong now. She can't be wrong now, because to be wrong means at some point you're gonna have to face them demons. She doing everything but going over there into that closet door and opening it to deal with them demons back there. She doing everything else. You don't do nothing else. It's too hard. It's too difficult.
And the crazy part, and when me and you last talked, I had mentioned about why I ultimately blame and state that so much of what we're dealing with now is actually a result of weak men. And it's because we fund it, we don't challenge it. We're fearful to challenge it. We enable it, and we pay subscriptions for it. And then we got the male panders for it. It across the board, 70% reduction in this behavior if men weren't supporting it in mass. Easily. If the new wave was, and I guarantee you this, we're going to see a very swift change in Gen Z, because they're split like this and politically. And when it's no longer in to be the far left crazy woman who thinks you can identify as anything and you can believe whatever you want, make any identity out of 50 different genders and all this crazy stupid stuff, and you could sleep with the world and still expect a really honorable, good, traditional man on the other side. Like, when that falls out of style and they're looking at the women that's older than them, that have aged out of most men's minds in the dating market, I think the younger generation is going to now see a huge demographic of older women who are bitter, angry, and realizing like, well, if the guys aren't dating them, the guys are leaving them alone. I won't be shocked if there's a slight switch for a lot of ladies where it's not going to be the end thing potentially anymore. Because again, we can go in two different directions, but to me, so much of this is y'all do realize that like her ability to look down on men as an OnlyFans model, while simultaneously her lifestyle being funded by men. These women don't respect any of the men who pay for these transactions.
No, they hoes, and hoes have never respected a John.
No, never.
Hoes never respect a John. They only respect the pimp, and these hoes right now is renegades. You know, renegade is a hoe, ain't got no pimp.
Yeah,
they is renegade, and in the old school pimp game, pimps and hoes didn't like renegades. You mess up the game. Yeah, you mess up the structure of what they got going on. They can't make no money and all kind of stuff, because you out here, you running around here, you on all on other people's turf and everything, trying to make money under the quote unquote under the table, because you ain't got no pimp and you ain't got, you understand? Even in that world, didn't nobody like the hoe that didn't have no pimp, because she mess up the game. They messing up the game now. Yeah, right. They messing up the game. I want to go back to something that you just said, because a lot of times folks don't like when you say the men are supporting it. I've said for years, the gynocracy can only stand because of the men that are engaging with it and that support it. And the reason why that is so is because whether women are acting good or acting bad, they women. Women don't have natural authority and power. Women do not have that. Okay. Any authority and power, we have to be given it. Men have to give it to us. I be telling men on my channel all the time, men made up feminism. It might not have been black men, but men made it up. Okay, because women do not have what it takes to create systems. We abide by systems, we don't create them. We don't change environments, we adapt to them. That is the essence of femininity. We adapt to survive. We don't create the system. We don't create a culture. We don't create that stuff. Men do that. That is the purview of men.
Wow.
So when we think of that premise that is the purview of men, this is where we're coming with certain things can't survive without men who are also in the mindset, because the men who support the gynocracy are not just the Johns. The whole, it's the son husbands.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
It's the men who have bought into a gynocratic way of thinking.
Happy wife, happy life.
But about their mama and all that other kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And women are the sun, moon, and stars, and they never can't do no wrong. All that kind of foolish men. Those are the men. Though it's the mentality that actually holds it up. Men create systems, and then they sustain them and maintain them, whether the system is good or bad. Men can maintain any system. The system, the highest system of oppression that we have experienced was created by men. And when we say that, this is not a male bashing, oh, the patriarchy, men are no good. This is not that conversation. We're not having that conversation about how no good the men are. We're just putting it into an ultimate perspective that the women don't have power. Women don't actually have power. Women can be given a false sense of power that can really be taken away at any moment. Has it not been getting taken away? They out doing the baby deletions, getting rid of them, trying to come for this child support system. They trying to come for this SNAP benefit system, because it was false to begin with. Women don't have natural authority and power. Every right we have come from a man somewhere, or a male created system has to give it to us.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. First of all, you cooking. And I'm looking like the amount of people that's popping up in this chat. We're almost at 500 people. If y'all have not liked this video, please make sure you do. I'm seeing all the names of people that I'm scrolling through and seeing all the names of people. And there's somebody that popped in that wanted to say something to you real quick. Let me bring this brother to the stage real quick. One second. Let me clear my thing. Let me see who it is. Let me see. Oh,
yeah, buddy.
What's going on, good brother? What's going on? I felt like you probably had something to say to the queen herself. What you got to say, good brother?
Listen, I just wanted to give you your flowers because I think it's very, very hard in this time and age to be honest and hold folks to a certain standard. And I know it's thankless a lot of times, but I just wanted to let you know personally, I really appreciate what you bring to the culture. And, you know, I'm honored that you are speaking out and allowing folks to understand that there is a system in place and there are things happening that we need to be aware of. And a lot of times you can be speaking into a void because folks just don't want to catch on to what's right in front of their face, because they love a very comfortable lie over the inconvenient truth. And I absolutely admire the fact that you continue to speak uncomfortable truths to these people, whether they like it or not. You are giving them the straight up medicine, no candy. And I absolutely love that about you. So I just wanted to take a second and pop on and say that I'm in the midst of a book tour. I'm about to head to the airport, but I wanted to just, you know, give you your flowers and let you know that we see you, we honor you, we really appreciate you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, and I appreciate those words of encouragement and kindness, because they do mean a lot to me. It can be thankless, but it's a work that I think is necessary ultimately You know, whether I'm called to do it or somebody else is called to do it, it has to be done. And it can't just be always, well, let somebody else do it. You know,
Mhm.
sometimes you do it. You know,
Right.
you have to do it. And if the Most High gave me the sense to do so, then that's what I have to do. So I definitely appreciate you. I appreciate that greatly. It means a lot.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. But listen, I'm gonna let y'all get back to doing y'all thing. I just wanted to pop on real quick and let you know that you are seen and you are treasured and you are worthy of every single flower you get, sister. Thank you so much for you being you. Because again, I had a conversation earlier today with Jeff, and I told him, I reached out to Dr. Claude Anderson's people, and I said, listen, I want to do bop bop bop, and they were like, listen. Dr. Anderson is 90 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's on you now. And I'm like, okay, like it's on us.
Yes, it is.
Scheherazade has done her work. Dr. Claude Anderson's done his work. The minister has done his work. Now it's really up to us whether folks like it or not. And they can sit up here and be contrarian in the comments all they want to, but we will keep hitting them with these facts until they get it through their greasy heads. And that's just what it's going to be.
Appreciate you, bro, and I appreciate you pulling up.
Love you. Peace.
All right.
Yeah,
that was wonderful. That was nice.
Yeah, I talked to him earlier, and I mentioned to him that you were going to be on, and I didn't know for sure if he was going to make it or not. But I'm happy that another person in this space was able to let you know, like, what you're talking about is so needed, so necessary, and I genuinely appreciate the impact of what you're doing, because you may be right that it may be only be 20%, and who knows what the percentage is, but I've always viewed it as, you don't plant seeds with the expectation that you're going to see the tree grow right in front of you. You just got to plant seeds as you go along, and over time, people will let you know what the impact was. And when I have that mentality, I'm not looking for instantaneous reception and change. It makes this type of work that I'm doing easier.
It does.
Yeah.
That's something I had to come to years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You can't expect it to see it. These are seeds being planted. Yeah. We may not be around to see the harvest. We might not be. And that's just the way it is. But we should take comfort in knowing that we were the ones planting these seeds. We planted these seeds. Because you're going to plant a seed somewhere. You just have to be mindful of which ones you plant.
Yeah, for sure. So a couple more questions, because I definitely already had you for well over an hour now, and it's getting late and I'm getting hungry. One of the big talking points that a lot of men have been stating, especially in terms of marriage and their fears or concerns about marriage, is not just about the divorce rates and the weaponization of children. It's also the sexless relationships and marriages. What are your thoughts about that? And what is it that you think men should do about that, if anything at all?
The sexless marriage, let me just first say, is a torture in and of itself. I had to live through that in my first marriage. It was not anything that I would wish on a spouse that care about their spouse. Because for the longer it goes, the less important it becomes of why it's happening. And then it starts to just become, it's happening. Because with my first husband, he was sick. But about year 6 or 7, I didn't care. I didn't care. Not that I didn't care he was sick. It was just that need still wasn't getting met. Regardless of the fact that he couldn't meet it, it wasn't getting met. You know what I mean? So the sexless marriage is an interesting one, because it can be happening for a couple of different reasons. If it's happening maliciously, as in a woman is withdrawing her affection as a punishment because she wanted you to do this, that, and the third, and she don't feel like you did it, and whatever the case may be, so she withdraws herself. This is a woman that you might want to reconsider your whole marriage to, because a wife will not utilize her intimacy as a weapon. If you have a wife not a chick you married, but if you have a wife and the connection breaks down, because that's where intimacy goes. For females, intimacy follows our sense of connection with you.
Mhm.
The less connected we feel to you, the less sex you're going to get. Okay.
Mhm.
That's just the way it is. And we will do that even if we don't want to do that.
Mhm.
So if you have a wife, not a chick you married, a wife, what she's going to try to do is identify where the issue is emotionally for her, between you and her, where the disconnect is at. So she may try at first subtly, let's have a dinner date. Let's because for women, cuddling without sex helps us build back any kind of disconnect.
Mhm.
And I know that men think differently about sex than we do, but we can't help it, just like y'all can't help it. So if you have a wife, she's going to try to get that connection even outside of sex. She's going to try to do it outside of sex first, then sex. That's how it happens for females. She's not going to use it as a weapon against you to get you in some type of line. Again, if you got a chick doing that, you might want to have a completely different conversation with her, and maybe this might not be a marriage you want to be in. Because a person that is going to utilize your needs against you for the purposes of trying to make you act a certain way, and ain't nothing wrong with her. She just, you ain't get her what she wanted, or whatever the case, whatever frivolous thing that she called herself don't like, and then now she not gonna have, you can't get no sex. You know what I'm saying? And all this kind of stuff. You know, you can only get oral on your birthday, on your 10th birthday, on a leap year, and all that foolishness. Then, you know, time out for that, because what
Leap years.
Leap year is insane. So, because what is you doing? You know, ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for walking through all these loopholes with you and a bunch of different excuses. Because men in committed relationships, he's also going to try to talk to you about it. You know what I'm saying? Your husband is going to try to talk to you. Well, what's going on? You know, what's happening? You know, and things of that nature. He tried to reach for you. You kind of went that way. So he, in a non-sexual setting, he might try to talk to you about, you know, well, it's been like 2 weeks. Is you all right? You know what I'm saying? Like, are you cool? You know, or whatever. And if she got an excuse that don't make no sense, or she called herself mad, yeah, well, you know, and you didn't do such as see, we got to have a whole different conversation at this point. Because what do you mean? And why do I want to be married to a person that's going to do me like that? So you don't want to meet my needs because what? This women get too caught up. These modern women, these Mary hyenas, get too caught up. Judge Mathis didn't get a divorce. Get too caught up.
Yeah, he didn't, to my knowledge. Yeah.
No, they reconciled actually. These modern women get too caught up in this rhetoric about how sex is not a part of their duty. And I know duty is not a sexy word, right? Duty don't get your panties wet. But it is a right. I'll replace the word duty with right. You have a right to your husband's sex, and he has a right to yours. Nobody should be in a constant state of denial of each other's needs. So you can't be coming to your husband every time, you know, all right, you know, and he study dishing it off. Something wrong. Same thing though. Just like you got a right to him, he got one to you. Because if you're gonna be married, That's a right, because it's a right, because it's a need that needs to be. Everybody has the need for affection and love and sex, the physical representation of that love, the physical representation of that connection. That's a lot of time what keep the connection, because we are very mercurial by nature. Maybe I'll start using that word rather than chaotic, because people don't seem to get that part. We're mercurial. Our emotions be everywhere. We can't help that. There's nothing we can help about that. The only thing we can do about that is have some type of focus with our emotions. We don't have to be a slave to them. So focus. Many times we're very distracted. We're more distracted than men are. So if our energy is not in a sexual space, we have to kind of get there. Men don't have that issue as much. Men can kind of, y'all kind of
on and off with
sex anyway.
Yeah.
So even if y'all having a stressful time, it's like, no, but I can still have sex though. We're not thinking about the stressful time. You know, that might actually be a stress reliever. We gonna have sex. Y'all don't let stuff bog y'all down. Like, it really got to be bad if y'all get bogged down to the point where you don't feel like having no sex. It's bad. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that. Like y'all in a deep depression if that's going on. But usually men have a different outlook of sex and a different way that they approach it. Women, we're psychologically, sexually stimulated first. Men are physically, visually stimulated first, and then we have to meet somewhere in the middle with that, and we have to balance with that. Women get too caught up with thinking that he have to meet every single little bitty, itty bitty emotional need. Y'all need to get it together. And I'm talking to the women. Regulate your own emotions. That man ain't got to coddle you 24/7 just to get them little raggedy draws he been getting. Do some self-soothe or something. Listen to some music or something. And be ready to initiate sometime the sex with your husband. You know? Initiate the sex sometime with your husband, because sometimes men, it's a complex issue. It's a nuanced issue. It's not so much complex. It was nuanced. But women, self-soothe a little bit. The men don't see sex how you see it. And I'm not saying the way we see it is irrelevant, because we can't help how we do this, how females do it. But at the same time, you have to have some type of focus within your own self. Don't let yourself be so scattered that when it's time to have sex, you can't do it, because that's like performance anxiety. You got to perform now. And I don't mean be performative. I mean, you got to fulfill that need and right. It's not a chore. This is the same dude that you used to toot it up with in indiscreet places when y'all was dating. This is him. This that same guy.
And stop that lazy sex. Stop that just laying there and just like, what are y'all doing?
You better throw
I don't even want it at that point. You're not doing me no favor.
Energy. I'm glad you said that, Mr. Jeff. Because men feel the energy of duty sex. Men feel the energy of, let me just get this man this sex and gone so he can leave me alone. Men feel that energy. They don't like that. If he love you, he don't like that. He want you to be involved emotionally and actively within that sexual experience. Okay. So I don't know if you got to talk to him about what kind of sex, or maybe it's something he do in the bed you don't really like, or maybe you don't have orgasms. Okay. Because a lot of women we don't have orgasms from penetrative sex. So if you got one of them guys that all he do is penetrative sex, you know, you might want to have a conversation with him about that, baby. You need to touch me or something. You know what I'm saying? Get me there. Help me. Help
the process. Okay, passenger.
Right. Do something with me. Help me. Don't just jam it in. I can't. Come on, man. I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? You are gonna get you're gonna get that.
You know what's crazy about what you said is twofold. One, the way I felt with what you were just saying directly to women. You ever grew up when you were young and you were hanging out with your friends and maybe at their house or something, and then you see one of them get yelled at by like their parent, and you just in that awkward place, like where you don't know what to say. You trying to
like, let me sit down before I get a whooping.
Like women, she's like, ladies, it's time to talk to y'all about what y'all dropping the ball on with sex. And I'm like, oh shit. Right. So and then number two, ladies, I don't think y'all realize, or maybe you do realize and you just don't care. When you're demanding monogamy for men that you're not offering sexual access to, you're ensuring the high likelihood that he's going to get it elsewhere. And then you want to run around when the relationship ends and you get the divorce to say the reason why the marriage and relationship ended is because he cheated. Or if sexless marriage is, listen, if sexless marriages is as common as everybody's claiming that it is, and you're staying in the relationship and not offering it, and you're not giving him the opportunity to go and get his needs met elsewhere, but you're still okay with him paying the bills and the labor and stuff that still he is having to do while you're not doing your part, I'm going to say, I've said it before and I'll say it again, you all are being unfaithful. If he's cheating when he does that with another person, you're being unfaithful. And and as a therapist and and working with a lot of couples and talking with women even one-on-one, a lot of the worst people in relationships and the worst people who have been in relationships were the ones who didn't cheat, because they were allowed to run with the narrative that it was always the ones who did cheat who were the ones that caused the demise of the relationship, not the ones who demanded monogamy, sexual exclusivity, and then didn't offer it and weaponize it against them.
Yeah. So to that point of what you're saying, because a lot of these chicks, he has to be, monogamous and he can't step outside of the marriage. There is a reason why, and I got to do it. I got to do it. See, because we stepped away from the laws of the Most High, this is why we in hot water, whether folk want to believe that or not. I'll leave that up to y'all. But we don't follow none of that. And then we try to make laws of our own that circumvented that because we think we can govern ourselves, and we have failed miserably doing so. So what we have done is come up with all of this other stuff to do in a marriage and make up our own rules. And a marriage work different for everybody. You're right. There are some things that the that the Most High said, and he said it for a reason, that sex is important. There is a reason that he says, don't deny each other that. Don't deny that. Not only is it a physical thing, what a lot of women miss is that is where the affection and the love went. That's where it went out of the door with the actual sex that you don't want to have and that you are weaponizing. It's literally wrong. It's literally wrong. If there's nothing going on with you, not on your period, you're not sick, you're not, you know what I'm saying, something really happening, and he just gonna have to hold it for a second. Just hold it for a second. We'll come back to it, but just hold it for a second there, because let me get myself together. A man that care anything about you, he'll hold it for a second and let you get yourself together. I will hope. I will hope you ain't married to a brute, because why would you marry a brute? But anyway, aside from that, if there's nothing going on with either of you, then there should be no reason why there's no intimacy to the point where now you thinking about, I got to get this need met elsewhere. That's the problem. Because the need is deficient enough that one or the other party, and we're talking about the women towards men, he thinking, well, I don't want to leave my marriage, but how long am I supposed to not engage in any type of sex? with the woman that I actually love and want to be with. Like I'm attracted to her.
3 weeks.
You know what I'm saying? And trust me,
3 weeks.
men will go longer than that. If they think that they can work that out with that woman, men will try longer than that. They'll try longer than that. They'll be, crawling up a wall like Spider-Man, but then you got to work it out.
Yeah.
Okay, especially if she say something that might be like, okay, that kind of makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Well, let me see if that worked. I'm gonna try to see because we got to get this back on track. But all that saying no and ain't nothing going on with you, that's why it's wrong. Because we cannot, as married couples, put each other in position to disobey a law. We can't put each other in position to disobey a law. That's why the rule is like it is. Don't put each other in a position to do wrong when they could have done right. When the opportunity for doing right was right there, and you helped deny them the opportunity to do right, then you share in the sin of them doing wrong. Should have did right. What you waiting on? Because I know your coochie hot. You gonna get it from somewhere.
Oh my gosh. Hold on. So I know your coochie hot.
They be hot. Be sitting there with their legs crossed real tight.
Oh my God. Listen, y'all. Somebody said hot pocket. Oh my God. I have kept you so long. Listen, what I'm going to do is, because I know we're going to have you on. I definitely want to join and do more of these for sure. I appreciate you for coming and doing this with me. You dropped so many gems and jewels that I know that people are going to just take and run with for sure. Why don't you let everybody know where they can find you and where they can support you?
You can always find me right here on YouTube. All you got to do is type in Crimson Cure and I will pop right up, or type in Kendra D, but Crimson Cure, either way, you're going to come up with my channel. I am one of one. So I will be the first choice popping up on your YouTube screen. Thank you so much for posting it in there. That's where you can generally find me. That this is my main social media right here. Or if you wanted to follow me on Instagram, it's the Crimson Cure on Instagram as well. Listen,
I appreciate you, and I appreciate Dave coming up and giving you your flowers, because I think we're in a new era of content creation in the manosphere, red pill space, where I think there's possibly going to be a lot more collaboration. And I think it's not just about talking about these things, but pushing more and more of us to kind of start to work together, build. A lot of us are already doing one-on-ones with people, but now it's time for us to really, I think, move more towards collectively, socially. What are we going to do together? I saw you working with Corey Holcomb. Was it yesterday? I think it was a couple days ago, something like that. And really getting the most talented, influential people in this space to start collaborating, working together, merging each other's audiences, and let's start pushing policy. Let's start pushing agenda. Let's start pushing actionable steps so that the men and the women can figure out, listen, how do I need to align? Who do I need to associate with? The things and people I need to stay away from. And I think that if we get on code with that, I think this goes from like everybody's in their own eco, in their own bubble, to like this could be something really big heading into 2026. So listen, I appreciate you. I'm honored that you came through. Listen, man, make sure that y'all show this woman some love. She is a titan in this space. Like Dave Anderson said, what he said was not fluff. For those of us who have known about her for years, there's a reason why she has over 100,000 people who follow her and she has millions and millions of views. It's because she brings that fire. She will cook. She will hold everybody accountable, including me. And I welcome it, because she's somebody who I put my stamp behind. So if you have not followed her, please make sure that you follow her, subscribe to her channel for sure. Make sure that you comment in the next videos that you see or that she has up, that Ask a Brother sent you for sure. And listen, y'all, I appreciate you. So I'm gonna let you go. So Miss Kendra, please have a good evening, and I won't get through the rest of these chats and talk to everybody on the way out. But thank you so much for coming in.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Appreciate you. Y'all, that was incredible. Again, like I don't even know what to say. This was amazing. This is amazing. And it was good to hear a woman that's older than me, who has wisdom, who was married and is married. Her previous marriage, her spouse that got sick passed away, and she's standing on it. She is standing on it, standing on truth. And it's a reminder that those of us who think like she does, and thinks like the culture is going too far, the community's going in the wrong direction, men and women are going further apart than ever before. I got to say that it's encouraging to see people like her, a little bit older than me, that's a woman, still standing up against the tide when there's so many other people, men and women, that's like, it is what it is. Let everybody do what they want. It's dope to see somebody that says what she says, that has the following size that she does. So I hope to get to that channel size one day, that to break into over 100,000 subscribers would be insane. Right now I'm at 30,000. Beggars can't be choosers. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful for starting this in January and hitting, now we're in November, and clearing 31, almost 32,000 subscribers so far. I know I'm lucky. I know that, you know, this isn't something that happens very often. And I'm honored that you all see this as a place and space where we can learn, be educated, challenged, push, convicted. And she hit the ground. Oh my God, like the things that she was saying, especially at the end. And I don't think that I've ever heard a woman challenge women quite to the degree about the impact and role that they have when it comes to sexless relationships. And that's exactly why I wanted her here. That's exactly why I wanted her here. So it turns out that this channel isn't just what I think some people's perception is, just about bashing women. It's actually about challenging women to be better women. She actually gave significant feedback about the men, and the men that are whose actions and behaviors and the way in which they use their time, energy, and resources to enable the negative behaviors in our community. Fellas, you can't keep bitching. You can't keep complaining about the market and contributing to it. So listen, man, Crimson Cure for sure. Make sure y'all show her some love. If you have not liked this video, please make sure you do. If you're not a subscriber to this channel or hers, we just ask that you do for sure. Send this to 3 or 4 people if you can. And let's keep building this movement, man, of content creators alike, from Black, white, conservative, liberal, independent, religious, agnostic. I just want us to get used to not focusing on functioning in groupthink, not functioning on just being lost. And just like she said, just having no intentionality when it comes to what we're doing. Let's start being better critical thinkers, readers, analyzers of information. And you'd be shocked that, like Dave, like Crimson Cure, and myself, and many others, it's good to be an independent thinker. It's nice. It's freeing. And this I guess this is your tribe. This is a tribe. And I hope this was awesome. I hope that y'all were both entertained, but felt like y'all learned something, got something, and was even a little bit inspired. So, you know, listen, y'all, I can't say it enough. I know it probably sounds a little corny when I say it. Thank you. This is something I've probably been thinking about for years. Well, have been thinking about for years. And even when I first wanted to start back in 2017 till now, it's been like 8 years since I first had the image of wanting to do this channel, and to have launched it and seen what it's turned into this year. Absolutely incredible. So I'm just skimming through. So if you haven't donated, feel free to donate $1 or $2 for sure. And of course, she had to close out. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Listen, y'all. This is awesome. This is it's weird to say. I know what it's like for a lot of people to not know what it is that you're meant to do in life. I think, you know, the last 2-3 weeks has kind of felt like confirmation. Heroes, people I look up to, people who I was watching and being like, man, that person's incredible. Would love to meet them one day. They're coming on my show. So I'm honored. Like this has been amazing. And again, if there's any way in which y'all can help me, the greatest way is to email folks, DM folks, get on these folks' comments and tell these people to reach out to me, because it's way easier for all of you to reach out to all of them than the other way around with me trying to find all these people that y'all are recommended. So BGS, I definitely want to work with him, the lead attorney, Candace Owens, different people, if you name it. I want to talk Dave Smith. There's a whole host of people who not always that I agree 100% with them as much as I think that they have interesting perspectives. There's a reason why they have an audience, and I want us to continuously get used to being stretched intellectually, learning all the ways in which we've been controlled and moved and manipulated emotionally, and to just end up being better versions of ourselves a year from now. And if we could be better men, we can have better women, and we can have better communities, better structure, and a better society. And I think these type of conversations can always be helpful. So great minds will sharpen each other. And I think this was awesome. I think this was awesome. So listen, y'all, there's so many comments that I absolutely can't get through just for the sake of time, because I don't want to keep you all any longer. So I'm just scrolling through. Shout out to everybody that became a member literally during this live. And to those of you who gifted people memberships as well, listen, y'all are killing the game. So listen, I got more guests to come over the next few weeks, some new surprises to come. So listen, y'all, stay tuned for sure. Absolutely would love more and more folks to come on. So best believe, y'all, this was awesome. I'm honored. I am grateful. Listen, y'all, thank you. Genuinely. So if you can, reach out to the people that you want on the show, DM them, flood their comments, spam them if you got to, get them in the space and tell them to email me, because I love doing this. I love allowing people to allowing people to just speak freely and not be interrupted and flesh out their thoughts. I don't think this is going to be like a clickbaity space. I know what to do to have 100,000 subscribers by the end of the month. I don't want to do that. I just want to do it the way that I've been doing it. I want to have a certain standard. I think that there's plenty of spaces and places where, folks can get that type of level of entertainment. I think there's a level of intentionality with how I'm trying to approach this space. And, I don't know. I think that like this is my lane. Stay tuned, because I am going to be getting out the original content very, very soon. I do have to do a live tomorrow with me, Pop Culture Mika. So make sure y'all jump on her channel tomorrow night. And I will be meeting and we'll be sending an announcement out on Saturday when I meet with another group of content creators and joining a panel with them Saturday night as well. So your boy is going to be busy. And I think I got 3, if not 4 interviews lined up for next week. So listen, y'all, I'm locked in. I'm serious about this. And the more that y'all support me, the sooner I'm going to be able to hopefully one day be able to do this full time. So shout out to y'all. Salute to y'all for sure. I just want to do this organic and go off of instinct and how I really feel versus trying to do the whole, bunch of women call in and, go crazy on them and call them names and all. Like, that's not me in my regular everyday life. And, there's a market for it for sure, but I don't think that's really me or what I want to do or what I want to be about. I think what I'm doing here is meaningful. And I hope that when I'm done this channel and when I'm done doing content creation, I could be proud of it, that, different people felt like, lives were changed to a degree, that they learn more, that there's a whole new way and approach of how we can talk to each other, how we can learn from each other. And, I'm just figuring this out like everybody else is at this thing called life. So listen, y'all, like it, share it, 3, 4 people if you can. And definitely, please go to all the content creators that you think would be awesome guests to bring on this show. Corey Holcomb, I would love to have him on. Reach out to these folks, comment, email them, spam their comment sections if you can on Instagram, TikTok, so any form of YouTube, any form of social media. Let these folks know that I want to talk to them, want to collab. And, if y'all can help me with that, that's really all I can ask. So listen, y'all, have a good evening. Have a good night. And, I'll see y'all pretty soon on the other side. So So enjoy y'all evenings, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Peace and Godson out. Take care.